Travis is messing with the board again. Isn't that fun? Well, you know what we can do? We can push the button right now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Duval Dive. Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game.
And I'm Travis Holmes with BigCatCountry.com, keeping you on your toes, man. What's going on?
And listen, you're listening to this thing on the Believe Podcast Network. Hey, listen, as far as I'm concerned, that's a happy little accident, because if you haven't checked out Travis's analysis this past weekend about the London games and that schedule, make sure you do so. See, that's how we do. That's how we make the best of the situation. Another way we make the best of a situation, we have a guest that's awesome to forget all of it, and as awesome as he is, the materials that we use, friend of the show as we often call him, we finally found a way to crowbar him in with his work schedule because he's that big a celebrity. Dan Griffis, Action News Jackson, the building. What's going on, man? Glad to have you in. I do not have canned audience celebration, so I'll just go, I'll do like Travis. Thanks for coming in, man. And listen, the opportunity to say thank you, looking right at your face to do it is a big one for me, man. So I appreciate you, and thanks for coming in.
You're telling me you guys don't have a clap track ready for me?
Listen. I'll actually clap for you. How about that? Okay.
How are you guys doing? Thank you for having me on.
Good to have you, man. And listen, let's get right down to it, because as often as we've talked about defensive back stuff, which no disrespect to my good man Travis D. Holmes, who lives in that world, and we have talked at length about Travis Etienne, and I'm sure you're going to weigh in on that plenty. Action News Jack. You and I wanted to see the Daniel Griffis angle to the offensive line talk, specifically two topics that go hand in hand. One, involving a huge contract that's currently on the offensive line, and two, another huge contract that's a very interesting conversation for the team that I'm, let's just say a member of their fan base, that the conversation's kind of gone off the rails out there about something about making them a top priority, and it's a whole thing. Travis is about to throw something if I go too deep in this conversation, so I'm just going to bring the graphic out. But listen, I would love the opportunity to cover a 49er in the trenches closely, as I've gotten to with Eric Armstead, should Trent Williams get in the building. I know it won't happen, but according to Adam Schefter, with 5-time All-Pro left tackle, Trent Williams scheduled to carry a $39 million, cue Dr. Evil, $39 million cap number for the Niners. The chances of his returning, shall we say, are limited at best. Travis, I know you have thoughts and feelings. Please tell us.
Bro, we're not being serious. I mean, I want to be honest about this. Like, it's an incredible opportunity for a lot of teams to be able to take on someone who is what is he, a 5-time All-Pro? I'm not even sure how many times he's made the Pro Bowl at this point for Trent Williams, but it's a lot of time Pro Bowl, a lot of time All-Pro. Literally one of the top 5 left tackles in the NFL.
And the actual MVP of the 49ers offense. Let's be honest.
I can acknowledge all those things while also saying that money matters. And the salary cap is real, despite many people telling you that it's not real, that it's fake, and that it's phony money and everything else. Unfortunately, I have an accounting degree, and I actually believe in numbers. And nah, bro. Like, so it's not a serious conversation when you talk about the fact that the Jaguars just re-signed Cole Van Lannon after what was it? The 6-game sample size. What, months ago? 2 months ago? Like, bro, it sounds great in the land of fantasy, in the land of Madden and everything else. But for a real legitimate conversation, I don't know how that would not be looked upon as just wild in these streets. I'm not even going to try to be over the top about it, but that would be a little much for me to see something like that were to happen. I wouldn't say I wouldn't clap for it, but they got a great talent in the building. an older great talent in the building.
Another
But also,
one.
I will be looking at some folks a little side eye if that truly happens, because you're already 30th in the league in salary cap. That's rough.
Well, and Dan, this is the part where I'm hoping to kind of bring your shall we say data science, for lack of a better word, into it. Travis points out the contracts. I'm well aware that Walker Little's a thing. You know, Travis had a tweet that had both Trent Williams in it and Walker Little, implying he should get traded, as if both those things could happen. And I'm not sure how much of the Avengers movies you've seen, but my retort was don't give me hope that Hawkeye does in Endgame, that both these things might happen simultaneously. It's impossible, right? Am I there?
Probably. I mean, I think solely the addition of Trent Williams is probably impossible right now for the Jags. I mean, like, look, he turns 38 in July. You guys want to talk about the money? How about the age? I mean, the Jaguars are looking to build for the future. You know, I don't think this is a team that is a left tackle, moderately, probably at this stage in the game, moderately better left tackle for, 1 year, maybe.
I
would give him credit and say that he's a really dang good left tackle. Like, I'm talking definitely. So it's hard to call any of these guys elite, because I'm not in the trenches with the O-line play on that level, but he's legitimately probably got to be top 5, top 7.
But if I may, and Dan, tell me if I'm on your wavelength here. I think the issue isn't so much Trent Williams' talent on a particular down; it's his reckless. Social alky off the top of
social alky
is the word.
That's the word I'm looking for. But Reyes points out something I just want to. That's a great retort. That Cole Van Lannon can play everywhere, though. Mm-hmm. But yes, I agree. No, maybe the money works for the term. But the Cole Van Lannon piece, playing everywhere, is a legitimate retort that probably should be discussed. And I'm not trying to step on your toes. I just wanted to point that one out.
Yeah, but
Reyes a shout.
But if you're signing him, if you just signed Cole Van Lannon to play left tackle, which is what we all would believe, then his versatility doesn't really matter, because he's going to be your left tackle,
right? Unless you just sign him to be a high level next Patrick McCarry, and that, to be real, the contracts aren't that dissimilar between Patrick McCarry's contract and Cole Van Lannon's extension. Like, from that perspective.
Cole Van Lannon and Anton Harrison, from a pass protection standpoint, both played pretty well this year. Mm-hmm. So, like, is upgrading one of the tackle positions that you probably feel okay with really going to be like a multi-million-dollar hole that you're trying to fix that really isn't there right now?
Yeah.
When we have the pressure, we did bring the pressure numbers to the conversation, because you got Cole, like the pressure rate among starters from Daniel Rotman on X. He posted this earlier this month. Cole Van Lannon had 12 pressures, which was a 5.9 rate. So he ranked 12th in the NFL as far as left tackles is concerned. You had Walker Little, who was ranking 29th at that point. So obviously Cole Van Lannon was an upgrade there. And you already mentioned Anton Harrison, who was 24th for right tackles. So that's a different conversation. He played well in some metrics. He didn't play as well in other metrics. I guess that just depends on how you want to slice it and whether or not you feel the film was better than what it looked like. And you have Ezra Cleveland, who was 8th for left guards, Robert McCarry, who was 27th for right guards, and Robert Hainsey, who was 26th. And that was actually the one that was harder for me to gauge, is Robert Hainsey, because I thought he played better than the stats objectively said he did. So just to point out what you were saying as far as how these guys played, this is the pressure rates.
And DG, I don't mean to talk over you on this, but you posed the question that I think I can answer. Can you really make that big a difference with bringing in an advanced guy, an expensive guy, to upgrade a position you've already upgraded? And I think the point that was brought up earlier by Reyes' comment is you can move Cole Van Lannon around. I'll put it this way. Keeping it in the 49ers space, right? They had Alex Smith, but could have brought Peyton Manning in the room at one point. And allegedly, Peyton Manning would have signed in San Francisco, but Jim Harbaugh talked too much trash. Whether you believe that or not is another question. But if you have Alex Smith, but can get Peyton Manning, you think about it. And the point is with Trent Williams, he could be at left tackle. Cole Van Lanen's still a significant upgrade to Patrick McCarry. That would be my retort. What say you, Dan?
Well, we're also talking about like it would be the equivalent to like 43-year-old Peyton Manning.
Ooh, Denver Broncos Peyton Manning just out there just being drugged through the Super Bowl.
Like look, at best, what do you get 2 years out of Trent Williams at best?
Yeah.
That would be his.
Do you think the Jaguars in the Super Bowl window where they can take advantage of a Trent Williams for 2 years? That's a different conversation.
Yeah, but you're losing 40% of your defensive snaps from last year. Fourth most in the NFL. So it's like you already just invested both last offseason and during this season into adding offensive linemen and targets, weapons for Trevor Lawrence. It's like, all right, do you want to invest in an offensive tackle instead of a defensive tackle? And also then if you're not able to dish and give out one of the right guards that you have that are dumb expensive, you have three dumb expensive right guards and Walker Little, Patrick McCarry, and
Cole Van Lanenen. I mean, but
did you?
Let's be real. Let's be real about this for a second.
You're glazing over the lead there, Travis. He just referred to Walker Little as a right guard. I love what you did there, Dan.
I think he should be the starting right guard next season.
I said it last year.
Ooh, now that's a different conversation because I gotta. All right,
him and McCarry. I think him and McCarry are basically a wash. Him and McCarry are basically a wash. I think basically a wash, but. And I think
it's Wyatt Milam's job to lose, and that's where I'm at.
I'm fine with that. Then you have four. Then you have four high paid in the sense of you selected Wyatt Milam pretty early. You have four high paid guards.
Yeah, so that's funny because Wyatt Milam's obviously the young one, and so you want him to be the one so you can get off the Patrick McCarry contract. Obviously, you brought Patrick McCarry in to be your versatile guy who can still be on your roster and still be your swing tackle and swing guard and all of that. You still have those options as far as Patrick McCarry is concerned, and you still have those options as far as Cole Van Lanenen is concerned. So you have versatility across the roster, even if they end up losing their spot against someone who just ends up being better or a rookie coming in or whatever else. So I'm cool with that piece. And from that perspective, I probably want Wyatt Milam to win the job. And I've heard some guys in Jacksonville media, they've been talking about bringing in free agent guys like Samulo from Pittsburgh to take the role of Patrick McCarry. I've heard that mess, and I'm like, I mean,
I am wishing I had popped some corn for this conversation. Damn.
That's actually it. Thank you, Zach. Zach Crosby, 60, 80. Go ahead.
So I got asked to bring them some numbers here. So I have pass block efficiency from PFF.
Okay.
Anton Harrison and Trent Williams are tied at 35th. This is about 90 tackles, something like that. Cole Van Lanen is 39th.
Okay.
And Walker Little is 77th. For references to give some context as to what this statistic means, it's essentially pressure rate allowed, but backwards. And then sacks have a slightly are more favored, heavily weighted.
They're weight heavier.
Yeah. So it's essentially a reverse pressures allowed statistic. Anton Harrison, this is via PFF. Anton Harrison, 6.1% pressure rate, 1 sack. Cole Van Lanen, 6.4%. So we're basically right there with him, 1 sack.
Okay.
Trent Williams, 5.7%. So a little better, 4 sacks. Walker Little, 8.6%, 9 sacks. So, I still like Walker Little in general. I think right guard, I'm more favorable on him than Patrick McCarry at right guard. I hadn't really even considered Wyatt Milam, to be honest with you, just simply because I almost like pushed him to the back of my brain because we didn't get to see him all that much this year. But I did like him coming out of West Virginia. But to provide some context there on some numbers for the tackles there.
First of all, awesome. Second, and here's to your point, Travis. I'm with you, Dan. We don't know enough about Wyatt. Truly, that's what camp is for, right? Camp will solve that problem. You know that with this coaching staff and this front office, especially, it's going to be a battle, regardless of who it is. I think the three of us will agree clearly that Patrick McCarry will lose. But all of that being said, you coming in off the top rope there with this stuff where cats are ranking in realistic stats, at least on par or better than Trent Williams, is something I didn't have. Now, let's put a little context. Let's remember that Trent Williams faces both the Los Angeles Rams and the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks defensive lines twice a year each. That matters. Okay. But yeah, that's at the very least at the price point that Trent Williams is with the guys you're also talking about. Let's pretend that I am enamored by Trent Williams, which, to be honest, I kind of am as a Niner fan. If you're looking at the numbers, it ain't worth the money, right, Dan?
Well, I will say that there's not really any good way to measure run blocking.
Thank you for saying it out loud. I appreciate you.
Which is half of the offensive tackle's job. I mean, obviously, pass protection is the big sparkly figure. But I thought the Jaguars were more than fine enough this year in pass protection. I thought that the struggle, if there was to be had with offensive line, was in run blocking. And we've got this beautiful little graphic up here from some guy that tweets some numbers.
Very legitimate source. Yes.
Yes. So,
shouts to friend of the show, Dan Griffis.
This was just something that I was looking at. I was going through ESPN's win pass block win rate, run block win rate, stuff like that, and I'm like, dang, ESPN has the Jaguars run blocking 6th. And if it was through the first 6 weeks of the season, I probably would have agreed. Yeah. And then the second half of the season, the Jaguars run blocking and run game in general, I thought just took a dip. Injuries certainly a part of that. I think Walker Little is probably a better run blocker than a lot of people give him credit for.
Yes,
there was a pretty good correlation there between when Walker Little went out and was removed from left tackle, didn't play, the Jaguars run game dipping. But also
we talked about that on the Duval Dive. We had a show and tell segment literally every week that Cole Van Lannon started at left tackle because we were like, hey, he was struggling early on in the run game, and then they got freaking ragdolled by Jeffrey Simmons in the Tennessee Titans game. And I'm like, dude, that dude just destroyed the whole run game that game. Like that was a whole show and tell segment by itself. So I agree with you that McCarry not only had his injuries throughout the season, but also Walker Little actually was strong in the run game. And it's one of his strengths that most people don't even notice. It's just he had the weight and he has the sand in his pants, I guess, as some coaches will say, to kind of anchor.
And I wish I could do a better job to illustrate some run blocking metrics or run defense metrics, but they're just not really there yet. Maybe one day.
I thought you did a good job illustrating it. I think you just didn't read it out loud, because you talked about yards before contact. The Jaguars were 21st in the league. I think that's a reasonably solid stat. That's an O-line stat often, unless you have a running back who just has really dang bad vision. If you're a team that's running a lot of zone like the Jaguars were in 2025, being 21st in yards before contact means, that's mostly on the O-line, because the running back generally has the two-way go as far as figuring out where to run within that zone scheme.
Yeah, so I can't individualize
Trent Richardson, it's an O-line stat. Go ahead, Dan.
Oh, I was just saying I can't individualize like run blocking, for instance.
Individualize it on the individual guys, but on the O-line as a whole. That makes it a lot. You can say it's a problem from the O-line, but on which guy is the different communication and passing off guys conversation.
If you've got like Quentin Nelson or Zach Martin, like guard, you're probably gonna they're gonna inflate the run blocking metrics for the rest of the O-line simply by existing.
Yeah. What is it? The data science of it, and I wish I could remember the guy's name. it's unfortunate I can't. But the theory that's out there is you don't look at O-line stats by the best blocker or a pass run or otherwise, or the worst one. You start looking in at or around the third or fourth guy, typically the third, right? Because if somebody's really bad, they'll put someone in to help, to chip, something like that. And if he's really good, they're going to put him on an island and he's going to win. It's that third best guy that you're going to ask that question to yourself when you're scheming, be you Liam Cohen, Udinski or otherwise, Grant Udinski or otherwise. Do I leave him on an island on this play or do I help him? Right. And, you know, when you roll those dice or overcommit those resources to help him, does something go wrong elsewhere? And that's really where the decision comes in. We are in the weeds, and I love it. This is great. Go ahead, Dan. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Oh, you're good. I forgot where my last. I may have been done.
Oh, okay.
Well, at the end of the day, because I was thinking like the Jaguars are in a spot where they can. We already know that most of the offensive line is coming back, or as far as the starting five guys are coming back. Many people have been interpreting James Gladstone's end of season comments that the starters are returning to then indicate that those are going to be your week one starters, which is not how I interpreted it at all. It was just to say,
Travis, I got to interrupt you. Anybody's interpreting it that way hasn't been paying attention to this front office nor this show. Okay, they're keeping the starters, so they'll be the top guys in the competition. What are we doing here? Okay,
that's it. So sorry. When I make the Wyatt Milam comment, people get a little thrown off. Like I'm like, no, I think that they believe that Wyatt Milam can take that role, especially after that year of development, because even earlier last season, they thought that he had a good chance of competing for the role. And then he ends up, getting banged up, and then he never becomes back to what he was. Like it was earlier when he did return from his injury. Coach Cohen was just like, we need to get his conditioning back up. We need to see what we saw in training camp. And I read that as, oh no, they think they had something. He just never got back where he was. And it got to a point where you're in the middle of the season, and winning a job in season is normally very difficult unless the guy gets injured and you just take the role at that point. So I think Milam will have a legitimate opportunity. I think it's his role kind of. And if he ends up being able to gain that role, I think that Macari can be your swing guard, swing tackle, backup center on game days, allowing you to have like 9 guys active or something along those lines. Because if you're looking at the free agent market, we got again, there's not a lot out there. I mean, I don't know if anybody here has looked.
I think all the Jaguars starters for next season are on the team. Maybe you add a tackle and like somewhere in day 2 or day 3 in the draft.
Have you seen the free agent tackles? The free agent, Jesus. Yeah. Have you seen the free agent left tackles? I had to mention that one because have you seen these contracts? Like Trent Williams is averaging per year $28 million a year, basically.
I love the top of the list is a dude that didn't even play all season, by the way. But go ahead.
Well, no. Well, Trent Williams is third in the league on average per year, and meanwhile, I only point this out because I think the Jaguars obviously will look into trading that person and Walker Little. He's 20th in the league at left tackle. Right. You probably could trade him to someone who is definitely going to be looking for an opportunity to upgrade because this left tackle class in the draft is kind of, I won't say limited, but as all drafts are, you get outside of that second round and it's
truthfully, that's not horrible value either for a team looking to trade.
Well, I think Walker Little can go for a second to third round pick this year in this year's draft.
And I think we said it with Jamal St. Cyr last week, Travis, or at least I did, that Walker Little, to somebody, to your point, Dan, is going to be an upgrade to a team somewhere, right? How many teams are out there that need offensive line help?
The funny thing about
the 49ers.
Yeah, the funny thing about offensive lines is everyone thinks their offensive line is terrible until you watch any other team.
It's bad around the league. It's bad around the league.
Every team in the NFL except for the Lions, and truthfully, they weren't as good this year as they have been in previous years. Every team in the NFL thinks that their O-line is the worst offensive line in the NFL. And then you watch
the Rams. The Rams are dope. The Rams are dominant, man.
Yeah. And then you watch And then you watch the Titans tackles or the Texans tackles, and it's like, oh gosh, Jesus. It's tough sledding out here.
So what's funny, Dan, is I was literally about to make a Titans O-line joke, and then you just came off the top rope.
It's bad, man. There's 2 Titans tackles below Walker Little, who's 77th. It's bad.
Jesus, that's rough. I mean, speaking of Titans, I mean, the Titans they were terrible, and the Texans they're trying to compete with it. And who can be the worst as far as that's concerned? Like they had a trade earlier today for the folks that missed it. I mean, we already had the stat here, so why not just pivot into that? I mean, the Texans acquired running back David Montgomery from the Detroit Lions for a 4th round pick, Juice Scruggs, one of the backup offensive linemen, and a 7th round pick. They also traded away right tackle Titus Howard for a 5th round pick to the Browns. So overall, they gave away their best offensive lineman and right tackle
for the second offseason in a row.
For the second offseason in a row. Good call. Yeah, they've traded away their best offensive lineman because they traded away Larry Tunsil last year. And he had a real good season. He had a real good season too.
I was about to say, which is beginning to look like as big a mistake as Kyle said it was for them.
He had a good season for Washington. Mm-hmm. So overall, they gave away a backup offensive lineman, their starting right tackle, a 7th round pick, and a 4th round pick. Well, they didn't really give away a 4th round pick. They moved down from the 4th round to the 5th round. If you want to look at it from that perspective, Cleveland's drafting at the top of the 5th round. Houston was drafting at the end of the Lions were drafting like toward the middle end of the 4th round. So if you want to look at it from that perspective, they moved down from the 4th to the 5th. Gave up a 7th rounder, gave up a backup offensive lineman, and Titus Howard for David Montgomery. I would love to say this is a terrible move. I can't say that. I'm going to be honest with you. No one cares about a 7th round draft pick. No one cares about moving down from the 4th to 5th round. No one cares about a backup offensive lineman. So you really are just saying your best offensive lineman, your right tackle, who you probably were going to not pay anyways. Let's be honest about that, because we all knew Houston's offensive line was bad last year. And they got a good running back while they need to revamp their offensive line with a younger core. Many people out there clowning Houston, and I would love to just because I don't like them. But I can honestly say I didn't think this move in and of itself was bad in a vacuum. I just think that they just now know they're going to need 3 to 4 offensive linemen, which they already did because they were terrible.
You said it just like it. They already did. Who cares?
I don't know if y'all have a different take on that one, because I know everybody seems to be all over the place on whether or not this is a bad trade or a good trade and where it lands. And I'm just like, I don't know, man.
It's really hard for me to get behind the Titus Howard one when the tackle situation is so bad this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
And they're kind of in a similar situation to the Jaguars, where like we were talking about bringing in Trent Williams in a Super Bowl window for the Jaguars, and for the Texans, they're trading away their best offensive lineman in their Super Bowl window. Because it's not going to get any better. Their defense is not going to get better.
Yeah, they're going to have to restructure guys and everything else to get into the cap compliance.
I mean, it's impossible for their defense, almost impossible for their defense to get better. They were damn good last year.
Yeah,
and like that offense started to get a lot better down the stretch there, kind of similar to the Jaguars. CJ Stroud, all playoff jokes aside for CJ Stroud, he played pretty well towards the end of the season.
And I ain't hearing that.
No, like from a Texans front office standpoint, it's like, okay, I don't know. Do you know if Mixon is a free agent?
Oh no, he's going to get cut with a physically unable to perform. It's physical designation guaranteed. He'll be cut.
So that's tough for me. I don't mind that David Montgomery one. Although running backs, truthfully, are a lot easier to find than tackles.
But they only got 2 offensive linemen under contract right now. Ursay and the center.
Yeah. Their entire draft is just, I guess, going to be offensive line, unless you like somebody in free agency that doesn't exist. Maybe they go after Trent Williams.
Maybe they go after Walker Little and answer all of Travis's dreams, just like they did with Cam Robinson last year. Whee!
The Jaguars made a trade with Houston last year, not one but twice. They made 2 trades with Houston last year, one in the draft and one for Christian Kirk. The Jaguars have a relationship with trading in division now.
How long did the Cam Robinson trade last? Like
he got traded. Games? He got traded to What did he get traded to? Goodness. He got traded in season to somewhere else.
Minnesota, right?
Was it Cleveland?
Or not Minnesota? Sorry.
Yeah, I think it was Cleveland. Yeah. I think it was Cleveland.
And I'm sitting there like, Cam Robinson.
And now Cleveland just got their other tackle.
Cleveland had
how do they have the money to pay him $60 million? Wait, wasn't it $60 million?
Oh man, I don't know. Like don't make me lie to you on air.
Let me pause something real quick. So, because like Social Alki asked this question, it's like, did you not hear the open? I said, don't give me hope because I know it's not real. I just need you to know, Social Alki, I didn't ever think it was going to happen. There's a reason why I came out with Travis's tweet with Hawkeye saying, don't give me hope. I knew it wasn't real from moment one. But the reason why we're talking about it here on The Dive with data extraordinaire himself, Dan Griffis, is because there's so much chatter out there about it that we needed to bring some sanity and voice of reason to the conversation. Just so
again, if you're 30th and out of 32 teams in cap space, you don't have the money. I'm sorry, you want lobster shrimp casserole, but you got ramen money. This is what it is.
I'm just kind of cool in general on a 38-year-old tackle.
But it's the position that they can at least age a little bit, like no different than defensive tackle. If you're a power guy, like you can generally age a little bit better or a little bit gracefully.
If they needed a tackle, I'd be cool with it. But like the Jags aren't, the Jags aren't struggling that bad at tackle right now.
So
right.
What
I think they're struggling at that right guard spot, and that's the point. That's the part that we probably should be talking more about because
that's a lot easier to fix. That's a lot easier to fix.
It's easier to fix. It's cheaper to fix. I thought like a middle tier guy was the guy from the Jets, Elijah Vera Tucker, because he had season-ending injuries these past few years. But he still was reasonably good.
He's another guy that has versatility. He played tackle at USC. He's moved all over the line for the Jets.
But gentlemen, I'm hearing about struggles. Both of you have suggested a starter that's an upgrade at right tackle in the form of either Walker Little or Wyatt Milam. So I don't understand the struggling stand.
I'm not really concerned about the Jaguars' offensive line entering this offseason. I am more interested in former San Francisco 49er, who is also being talked about being released, Javon Hargrave. That's a conversation I'm far more interested in having, because he ranks right up there with everyone's favorite defensive tackle free agent, John Franklin Myers, and pass rush win rate, 12.7 for John Franklin Myers, 12.4 for Javon Hargrave if he is indeed released.
This is funny to me because you don't seem to be concerned about the offensive line, and I surely am. And I'm not an offensive line guy. I mean, I'm a DB guy. I'm all about Boise State. Throw the ball down the field and make this a track race all day. But I am actually concerned about the Jaguars' offensive line.
I'm concerned. I think that all of the starters are here on the roster, and I don't think that they go and get a starter level player.
See, I think they get middle tier players who are maybe able to compete. Like I think that maybe Chuma Adoga isn't on the roster, but then you bring in a middle tier guy like we were talking about Elijah Vera Tucker or like a Daniel Faalele. Faalele. There you go. Goodness gracious. Like a big guy who is a road grader who can help you raise the
big is an understatement.
What was he, like 380?
He's 6'9". Yeah.
370, 380. Like I'm just thinking of something like that, like a guy who's a road grader who may not give you the best pass protection, but maybe you ain't got to pass the ball much if you can just keep running the ball. Like that's what I want to see from the Jaguars because
And
when they brought in Tumadoga, they brought in Fred Johnson. When they brought in all these guys, me and Kyle last all season, we looked at the weights of all the guys they're bringing in, and I'm like, oh, they want to be a man gap team. They want to be able to muscle guys, even though those guys didn't work out. That's the look that they're going for, bigger guys, and they didn't bring in the current starting group. Just aren't those guys right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that means you gotta bring in rookies or middle tier free agents to compete that may have that look to give you those options, if that makes sense. So that's why I'm concerned about the O-line. They're not that, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think there's also a world where like Macari or Walker Little get better playing at right guard next year. If Macari can fix the penalty issues, like we're already infinitely better. The Jaguars kind of struggled with that, especially in the first half of the season. I mean, Macari missed a good bit of time, and I think he still led the offense in flags, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So like we just got to get. And Tumadoga played about 6 snaps and had about 7 penalties.
And moreover, he would get those penalties lining up in an unbalanced line against a smaller dude. So yeah, I was ticked about that. There's plenty of evidence on the Duval dive of me complaining about that. I'll tell you for
folks hated Chuma, man, for like 2 game sample size. That sucked. I felt so bad for that dude, man.
Yeah, I felt bad for Diami after he got his first touch in like a month, and then he fumbles it. And I'm like, oh, buddy.
late in the game.
Buddy.
Tim Patrick had it the worst. The Cardinals game, he's doing the whole running down the field and don't see the ball thrown to him. But yeah, that was the one.
Yeah, he made up for it though. In his other, he had 5 plays this season, and he had a decent. He made a decent splash in some opportunities. I mean, he's far better in blocking. That it just isn't appreciated. And I wish that I had some statistics in like receiver blocking to be able to
blocking,
give people some credit.
Receiver pancakes.
Woo! Now
hey,
famous.
The Georgia Bulldogs would be elated with those numbers.
Fair.
They were, but yes, I think that offensive line, I don't think the Jaguars make too much noise there. I would be shocked if they bring in a high dollar free agent.
Thank you for pulling it up.
Zenith asked this question about will Tugboat make the team? Cooper Hodges, because we didn't see him last year because he was coming back from his injury. And that's a curious question just because he was really good in the Doug Peterson regime. And he is on the roster as a guard option. I don't know if his weight and size wise even works in this scheme as well, because if they want to get bigger, is he that style even, or is he just more of a straight zone guy?
I feel so bad that we're in whatever for Cooper Hodges, and we just
don't know.
Yeah.
But that's how it was for the Dallas Cowboys when they were in their dominance of just churning and burning offensive linemen in that factory. It was just always a new guy that just pops up in 3 years after no one's seen this guy play in his contract year, and he's dominant. And now they just let him go and they get a comp pick for it. Like they were doing that all the time. So I'm not against taking the time. If offensive linemen take a long time to develop, sometime it's what it is.
And we are in year 2 of an O-line rebuild. Let's get into that as well. So
I have a question for you, Travis. Since you're a film guy, being a former player there. What did you think of Monheim this year?
What I think of Monheim? I mean, I thought he was fine in his limited snaps. I just didn't see a lot, because he didn't have a lot of games to go on. What did he have? Like a game and a half overall?
Mm-hmm.
And in substitution for Hainsey.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was fine. Fine's a good thing for me because I had questions on it originally. I thought his arms going to be too small. I thought he was going to get dominated by a few guys, especially in the AFC South, having all those powerful centers, and he didn't. He seemed like he belonged.
I agreed with you on Hainsey, by the way. I thought he played better than metrics probably showed.
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting. When I saw that season in, I'm like, dang, am I wearing teal shades? Did I miss this? Oh man, now I feel like I need to go back and just relook at it. I don't know.
I have Travis filling out his apology letter after his preseason comments. It's okay. So with that in mind, something else that Travis wanted to bring up here in this particular conversation, Let's transition over to the other side of the trenches. And of course, again, a very intelligent human being had some points to make about the Jags defensive line with Trayvon Walker's extension and what it would look like with the Jags. Shouts again to our own friend of the show, Dan Griffis. And the closest statistical comparison is the Chiefs' edge rusher, George Karlaftis. Now, DG, I got to tell you, Travis did enjoy that tweet because we had a very similar conversation here on the Duval Dive. So proof of great minds thinking alike is another reason why you're here on the show today. But I mean, where are you as far as, where Trayvon Walker, there's not a scenario where the Jags pass on him, surely, but
yeah, I'm sure the Jaguars would like to extend Trayvon Walker right now, as it's like a sign low, buy low type thing. Trayvon Walker, yeah, correct. Trayvon Walker, I mean, he started out 2025. He got 2 sacks in the first 3 games. Was looking really good, and then it kind of just derailed from there. The wrist and knee injuries. Just he very obviously just wasn't the same player. I thought that he was still pretty solid in run defense, but the pass numbers just weren't really there. Pressure numbers, sacks, whatever it may be. So I thought that he could have had another double-digit sack season. I don't know if I ever see him being like the 14, 16 sack guy. Although a lot of people have the similar questions with Josh Hines-Allen, who I think is still one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. But I think the reason I looked at Karlaftis, Karlaftis has played 2 or 3 more games and has 3 more sacks than Trayvon Walker. Yep. He's got 3 more sacks than Trayvon Walker.
I got you right here.
Come on. There we go. I definitely think he's a more consistent pass rusher at this point than Trayvon Walker. That's fine. I think that, the cap just went up another, $30 million or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, if you have to pay Trayvon Walker slightly more than Karlaftis got paid, that's fine. I think Trayvon Walker's better in run defense.
He is. That does matter.
Well, and look at the division such as they're designed, gentlemen, right? The AFC West is Justin Herbert, Bo Nix now, and, well, okay, they don't really have a quarterback there. But
Travis could have 10 pressures and 2 sacks against the Chargers.
With the way that line was last year, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
But there's those elements there that are true with Karlaftis, and that that's a more, I'm going to say, quarterback centric division than the AFC South is at this point. Whereas Trayvon Walker has to do battle with Jonathan Taylor twice a year. I think that's a factor.
No, you're not wrong. I mean, the fact is that you have to be able to be balanced and play both sides, like not just be a sack merchant, not just be someone who's running upfield every snap and letting them run right inside of you. So like you said, Trayvon will be extended, but overpaid, quote unquote. He is a game record though. And I don't even know that he's necessarily going to be overpaid, because we've been talking about this from day one. Brian Burns is the one who originally set the market. So you knew where the line is. He was like
Brian Burns, not Brian Branch, like some of we tried to have you believe here on the Duval Dive Shorts. But go ahead, Travis.
So Brian, he was a line where you knew like where Josh Allen would be paid, and if you're better or worse than that guy. And the same thing with Karlaftis when he gets re-signed back after the 2024 season. He's like right now, Trayvon Walker is right around where George was, basically. Like they are very similar, if you want to take into consideration the fact that, again, Trayvon Walker does have to, stop the run more frequently. And he does also not have the lead in more games than the Kansas City Chiefs have had in their careers, if you want to look at it from that perspective. So you're not getting as many pass rushing opportunities. Oh, yeah. And that you also don't have, what's his name? Freaking Chris Jones on the inside, pushing quarterbacks outside of the pocket towards you. You don't have that going on in Jacksonville. Maybe that might influence your stats just a little bit. Like I can easily make this say, if I'm the agent for like Trayvon, he's the same dude at best, at least that. Like, and now I can see that argument.
And I think it's fair to say that like a healthy Trayvon Walker this season matches or exceeds George Karlaftis' 30.5 sacks.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. That would be 6.5 sacks this year. I think he definitely would have matched that or exceeded that.
So that's not feel lofty. I agree with you, Dan.
Yeah. So like I was looking around, like, all right, who's similar age? And Karlaftis is actually in Trayvon Walker's draft class, so it's really easy to look at Karlaftis, who's played almost the identical amount of games, almost the identical amount of sacks, and it was pretty easy to pick out George Karlaftis to really be the guideline for what I think Trayvon Walker's deal will be. Maybe it gets to 24 million, maybe it touches 25 million, but I think somewhere in between 22, 24 is probably where you're looking for Trayvon Walker.
That's it. That's exactly where I landed. Around 23, if you want to include this year, if you want to including this season's numbers, maybe you will have that average be around 22. Otherwise, if you're just looking at the straight extension, maybe you might get lucky enough to move that thing up to 23 when you add inflation to the conversation.
It's important though that the Jaguars have to do him and Josh Hines-Allen justice in bringing in some interior pressure. They had it in the first half of the season with Eric Armstead, and then Armstead got hurt. And when I say it was a fall off, I mean like left off of the cliff, like Wile E. Coyote style. It was bad. They got 0 sacks, and I forget it was they were 32nd in pressures and 32nd sacks after pressure rate and sack rate after the injury to Eric Armstead. Devon Hamilton, like great run stuffer, just not that guy, and never will be that guy.
Never. He was that year for one season. But one season, he was like a 7% pass rush win rate guy, and that was his ceiling. That's what got him extended, unfortunately. And he ain't been that guy since, unfortunately.
I think the Jaguars' current staff has made it clear that Mason Smith will not be that guy in Jacksonville.
Yes, that's correct.
So all hope be shed aside there. So I think that the Jaguars have to bring in someone, and it's not like Eric Armstead's 26 either. You know, the Jaguars have to bring in someone to compete with Armstead for pressure on the interior. I don't, and Armstead has a big cap hit as well. I don't think they can move on. Really, the dead cap is enormous. But
they can.
They can. Shad Khan is willing to fork.
Let me rephrase.
I don't think they will.
They can move on from Eric Armstead, and I'll be clear and say that I think they will move on from Eric Armstead.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. I mean, we'll have like 0 bodies on the interior, but I don't hate it.
Well, I think if they add someone to the level that we believe that they're going to add, because the only thing that you can say objectively that you hear very consistently is that they're searching for a big fish. Whether or not they land it is another conversation. But if you're searching for a big fish and that big fish just happens to be a 3 technique, well, with that contract, I don't think that Eric because you get everything that they're talking about. It's always been for the future. Eric Armstead would not then be that future. So then you're signing that 3 tech to be the future. And at that point, I can then move off of Eric Armstead and just take on whatever draft compensation I'm going to get from him and kind of just keep it moving from that point. That's what I think was happening. They still would need another defensive tackle, even after that for the Devon Hamilton conversation. But that's what I think. That's how I think it would have materialized if they get whatever big fish that they're looking for, whether that's
I mean, they were interested in Quentin Williams, reportedly. So, you know, and it doesn't have to be through free agency either. It could be another trade.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, another trade. That trade is where I was more focused on than just free agency. Like, if it is free agency in the John Franklin Myers conversation, that's fine. But trades are still an option. And there's a few teams that have options. Like, our brother won a dream. I so want a dream that it was a Dexter Williams conversation, not a Dexter Lawrence conversation, or something like that. Like that's where I'm like, but I know it's not going to happen.
Well,
but you never know.
Here's the opportunity I'll give you, Travis, because we're nearly 50 minutes in, having a whole lot of conversation for an initial topic I was told was bad at one point. I'm joking, Travis. It's all good. No, but listen, DG's in the building. We had some stuff. I needed to pop some corn with the right guard conversation. We talked about the trenches in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I had my Christmas here with the great Dan Griffis. Tell him where you can be found, my friend.
I'm writing almost every day at actionsportsjacks.com. I also try to put out as many numbers as I see fit and I can on Twitter. We were talking about just now the free agency D line class. Somebody I mentioned today on Twitter, Jermont Jones, who started out as an interior defensive lineman for the Titans, has played edge for the last 4 years. That's another guy, and it's such a deep edge class in free agency. How many of those guys actually hit free agency is another question. But so many great edge players in this free agency class. It's not really a great defensive tackle class. Do you look to a guy like Jermont Jones and it like, hey, we'll pay you big bucks to move back inside for us? And I think the Jaguars, speaking of that, also saw some fruit in bringing Trayvon Walker next to Josh Hines-Allen on passing downs, especially the last 5 games of this season. I still think Trayvon Walker should be the other edge. I'm not suggesting that he shouldn't, but I think that the Jaguars defensive staff was really looking into that to try to create some more pressure on obvious passing downs. And they did really, really well with it. Whether it's Javon Hargrave, John Franklin Myers, or Jermont Jones, I think that the Jaguars' biggest need right now is defensive tackle and boundary corner. So I'll be posting as much as I can about those two positions as we near free agency.
Well, for what it's worth,
you got me excited about this free agent conversation that we're going to be having later this week. Jesus, I'm ready.
For what it's worth, you are closely aligned to another friend of the show, Jamal St. Cyr, and everything you just said there, Dan. So there's all that. Travis, let the world know.
And you already know. You listen to the sound of my voice. Obviously, click the like button. Please subscribe to the Duval Dive on YouTube. And if you're listening to on the audio side, please rate and review us. Help this thing keep growing. Shout out to the Believe Podcast Network. This thing, we wouldn't be where we are right now if it wasn't without your paycheck. So thank you guys and thank y'all for continuing to comment in the chat, man. Hey, you guys give us this content to talk about because, hey, you ask questions, we answer, and you say something that maybe we think has some meat on it. We're gonna have a whole podcast talking about it because we don't just talk at y'all, we talking with y'all. Keep talking back. We love y'all. Appreciate you. Travis D. Holmes on all the socials, bigcatcountry.com. Have multiple write-ups already this week. I forgot which one was the most recent one because I don't sleep.
Just go to bigcatcountry.com and check out my dude at work.
The Duval Dive, like and subscribe, and let them know where you can be found, brother.
Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at the SOTG. Check out my work here, of course, on the Duval Dive covering your Jacksonville Jaguars. Find me on Facebook as the student of the game. And now I'm in a position where I think I can announce I've recorded my debut episode with Locked On UCF. So make sure you check that work out there as well. Shouts to Mike Gibbons for jumping aboard as I reunite with also my friend Andrew Glukove covering the UCF Knights. And with them being a tournament team in basketball, what better time from the hoops perspective? And of course, my work covering the Orlando Magic as well. So for the incomparable Dan Griffis of Action News X, for my dude, my personal champion, Travis D. Holmes, this is Kyle Nash, student of the game. Until next time, everyone, class dismissed.